Happy Good Friday, everyone. It is April 18th at 7:30 p.m. Eastern Time. Tonight, I'm going to give you an update on what's going on with my case, but I'm also going to talk to you about one of my power moves I did down here in Florida to prove that things are not what they seem or appear. My first power move was last November. I got my statements of eligibility from Florida Department of Education and then turned around and applied to Volusia County Schools and became a public school teacher last year. Teaching the exact same grade my daughter Bianca is in at Campbell Middle School, 7th grade. As far as what's going on with my case, I've only done one thing so far this week in regards to my case, and I'll talk to you about that in a second. But I wanted to remind everyone what you need to do to follow me on Facebook so you get the live notifications that I'm going live. So in my live video, you're going to go to the settings and then you're going to go to the bell and you're going to click the bell, turn on live notifications, and you will get notified anytime I go live. So that's on Facebook. For YouTube, if you go to subscribe to my YouTube, like my YouTube, and then hit the bell notification, every time I upload a video on YouTube, that will give you a notification as well. I've already uploaded one video to YouTube, and I'll explain that in a second, and then I'll make that live as well. But tonight we're going to discuss my power move I did to prove even more so that the Serlicks are lying to my children and everyone around them. But as far as my court case is concerned, we left off last week with me filing the notice of appeal and the notice to vacate, and then Upchurch scheduling a in-person hearing for that notice to vacate on May 2nd, physically at the Daytona Courthouse. Still a ways to go on that. But in the meantime, Monday morning, I filed at 1:37 p.m. on the 14th. So 4 days ago, I filed the directions to the clerk. When you file for an appeal, if you do not put in specific directions to the clerk, they only do the bare minimum. So if you want additional things filed into your appellant case, you need to direct the circuit clerk's office to do so. So that is what I did. So this form right here is based off of their G form you can find. This is docket information number, identification number 163. And just like all my other videos, these will be scanned and added into the YouTube video for you to see after the fact. But directions to clerk in Circuit Court of 7th Judicial Circuit in and for Volusia County, Florida, case number 2023-31828, FMCI, Heather Louise Bendl, appellant/petitioner versus Justin Derek Serlick, appellee/respondent. And then I wrote out petitioner/appellant Heather Louise Bendl directs the clerk to include Heather Louise Bendl's entirety of her Florida Circuit 7 case 2023-31828 FMCI docket, which consists of DIN 1 all the way to DIN 163, which is this right here. From the record described in Rule 9.200A1. This is to include all hearing notes, motions, orders, denials, exhibits, motions for emergency custody, Judge Stasia Warren's recusal, and any other filings to date. This case was opened by Heather Bendl August 7, 2023 with DIN 1, and as of the date of this direction to the clerk, April 14, 2025, is on DIN 163. All DINs between 1 to 163 must be included. This form is timely and otherwise properly filed before the court. And then, of course, the second page is certificate of service, which was physically mailed to my ex-husband, Justin Serlick. So if I did not file this within the time frame required, Circuit 7 would only do the bare minimum. So obviously I want my entire docket in front of the appellant court because my entire docket tells a very interesting story. When you look at it in chronological order and you see everything that has happened without even speaking to me or knowing me, you can see that there's some illegal activity going on. There are some definite concerns for our judicial system and this abuse of our judicial system in my case. My case is a very perfect example of what law students should be studying to keep things like this from happening to us as U.S. citizens. So if that doesn't give you a clue to what my next power move is going to be, I don't know what does, but put those words together and see what you come up with. So my power move I've been working on since January of this year kind of fell in my lap. This is not something I was actively seeking out to do. I just want to make that perfectly clear. It was almost like the universe, God, fate, whatever you want to call it, kind of placed it right in front of me and connected the dots. So in January of this year, in 2025, I was at the mall for an event that Pete was at. And I'm roaming around the event. Everyone's got booths. And I'm roaming around and I'm stopping at all the booths and I'm reading what each one is about. And one of the booths that was there was Florida Guardian Ad Litem volunteer. They were recruiting volunteers for the Florida Guardian Ad Litem program. So I stopped and I asked the girl, so what does it take to become a Guardian Ad Litem in Florida Circuit 7? Not much. You just need to have an education and, you're willing to put in the time for the training, etc. So I wrote my name on the list to be called by the recruiter. And I just wanted to get more information on what exactly the credentials are to become a Florida Guardian Ad Litem volunteer. And I am here to tell you exactly what you need. Pretty much nothing. Pretty much nothing. A heartbeat, I would think, and no criminal history, I would think. But as far as a background in like social work, psychology, working with, young children, none of that. They didn't require any of that. And one would think that if you're going to be representing abused and neglected children, one would think that you would need to have at least an associate degree in social work. Nope. I'm a geologist. So before I start reading all these emails and breaking it down for what I've been up to the last few months, I want to read this. This is a disclaimer that's on the bottom of every single email from Florida Guardian Ad Litem office. But also it's the exact same disclaimer that was on the bottom of my email at Volusia County Schools when I was a teacher there last year. And it's pretty well known across the state of Florida because Florida is a very liberal state when it comes to public records. So Florida Guardian Ad Litem, their symbol, representing Florida's abused, abandoned, and neglected children. Okay, so that would be my children. They need representation. Please note, Florida has a broad public records law, Chapter 119, Florida statutes. Most written communications to or from state employees are public records obtainable by the public upon request. Emails sent to me at this email address may be considered public and will only be withheld from disclosure if deemed confidential pursuant to the laws of the state of Florida. So I'm reading this disclaimer to you so no one comes at me because I'm reading emails, because if you are in a public position of power or a candidate for a position of power, all of your communications are open to the scrutiny of the public. So just keep that in mind. All right, so January 30th, I got an email from the Guardian Ad Litem office. I'm not going to call out any names in this because some of these people are legit good humans, okay? The girl that reached out to me that I met at the recruiting office, she appears in every sense of the way I can see it to be a good human. So I do not want to put certain people under the spotlight and make it seem like all of these people are bad. They are not. I'm usually a pretty good judge of character, except for the Serlick family. So I want to make it clear that not all these people that I have been communicating with and working with, for the most part, are not all bad. But it will become very clear who I am not happy with in this situation once I get through it. But the recruiter that reached out to me, sweetheart, I wish nothing but the best from her. I'm hoping that she'll do the right thing. I'm hoping a few of these people that know my name and have spent some time with me now do the right thing by my children, that these people swear an oath to do. That has been my goal throughout the entirety of this particular situation, was to get eyes on my situation, my children's situation, and hopefully get them some help. So please know that me doing this was a way to get help for my children, was a way to get internal contacts in positions that can help my children and get eyes on my children. So just know that. So anyways, January 31st, I get an email from the volunteer recruiter wanting to schedule to meet with me and talk about the position, etc. So that was January 30th. And of course, like always, these will all be scanned so you can read them as you're watching this video. Then February 28th, so we're talking a whole month went by between the time that she first reached out to me after I put my name on that list as a volunteer, to when we finally scheduled time to see each other via Zoom and have a conversation. So that was a whole month in between. So February 28th, she emails me, "It was great speaking with you today. I appreciate learning more about your experience, and I think you will make a wonderful addition to the team. Attached to this email are 2 documents that require your signature, our standards of operation and a media release. Please read each of them and then sign and return them to me via email. As mentioned, the volunteer role requires some training that can only be done online through the Guardian Ad Litem Academy. This is where you will complete your online training to prepare for your role as a Guardian Ad Litem volunteer. Phase 1 is a required 6-hour course designed to provide a foundation for those interested in becoming a certified volunteer. It covers the following topics: role of the Guardian Ad Litem, child well-being, and child abuse. Guardian Ad Litem Independent Study Phase 1, Chapters 1 through 3. Make the difference, preventing youth suicide and promoting resilience. This training was in particularly a little touchy for me because my son Tommy did attempt suicide in father's care. Abusive head trauma and overview for Guardian Ad Litem. Guardian Ad Litem pre-service training, chapters 4 through 11. As you complete each training module, you'll need to send me the PDF of the certificate completion for each chapter. Finally, I've attached a document to this email for instructions for obtaining the fingerprints required to complete your background check. Please make an appointment at your convenience. Blah, blah, blah. It's quite a bit of information. I'm here to support you. Okay? So then here is same day. I registered for the Guardian Ad Litem Academy. Okay? Thank you for wanting to make a difference for abused and neglected children. On behalf of the statewide Guardian Ad Litem office, welcome to our innovative I Am For the Child Academy. We applaud you for desire to learn more about child welfare and advocacy. All right. So that's the Department Director of Education Development statewide Guardian Ad Litem office. Okay. And then March 5th, 2025, I completed my fingerprinting background check. Okay. So they take a photo, almost like a passport photo, and then your full fingerprints, and then send them in to make sure you're not a criminal. Okay. And I'm not. Sorry, Mary Ira and Justin Serlick, I'm not a criminal. I know you keep trying to lie about everything, but I keep proving you guys wrong. So anyways, so the training was quite a bit, and I'll show you each certificate. Certificate of completion, introducing the volunteer role. Okay, guardian ad litem, chapter 1. Child abuse and neglect, guardian ad litem, chapter 2. Child well-being, guardian ad litem, chapter 3. Now each of these are 2-hour online certifications. Chapter 4 is not available, and that was made available to me. That wasn't there to take. Chapter 5, effective communication and interviewing skills. So that would be for interviewing guardians, parents, children. Chapter 6, information gathering, documentation, and judicial reviews. Chapter 7, child welfare and the law. This is a 1.5 hour. Chapter 8, poverty. Chapter 9, educational advocacy. So, you know, like my children, Tommy and Bianca, that can't read, advocating for their education. Chapter 10, trauma and resilience. God knows my children have been through 5 years of trauma, thanks to the Serlicks lying to everyone about what was actually going on. And then Illinois child trafficking them. Chapter 11, wrap up next steps. And then making the difference, mandatory staff training. That was the suicide. And then abusive head trauma overview for guardians ad litem. Okay. So I completed all of the required trainings to be a guardian ad litem. Most of it is pretty common sense stuff. And then March 27th, 2025, we've got the email. Welcome to the Florida Guardian Ad Litem Office, Heather. Florida Guardian Ad Litem Office, Circuit 7, representing children in Flagler, Putnam, St. John's, and Volusia. Welcome to the Florida Guardian Ad Litem Office. You are now certified as a provisional Guardian Ad Litem volunteer. Thank you for your commitment to advocate for children in dependency cases. Below is the Florida Guardian Ad Litem 7th Judicial Circuit staff contact information. The Daytona office is located at blah, blah, blah. Your certification coach is, then his name. They will reach out to you shortly to meet and schedule court observation. Feel free to contact me if you need any assistance in your new role. Congratulations, Heather. Welcome to the Florida Guardian Ad Litem Office. It has my name, my email address, my phone number, my certification coach's name, email address, phone number, my certified child advocate manager that I would be reporting to, her name and email, senior child advocate manager, assistant circuit director for 7th Judicial Circuit, and circuit director, 7th Judicial Circuit. Those two, their names, these are the two people I have a bit of a problem with now. Rachel Hopkins, Circuit Director, 7th Judicial Circuit, and Jennifer Sandoval, Assistant Circuit Director, 7th Judicial Circuit. And I'll explain why I have a problem with those two in a minute. Okay, so description of program. So this was my job role as a Guardian Ad Litem volunteer. The Guardian Ad Litem program, GAL, is a program run by the state of Florida. As a volunteer in it, you are assigned by the court to check on children who were removed from their homes for abuse and or neglect. These children are in the custody of the state of Florida and are usually placed in either a foster home or placed with relatives. We are their advocates and make sure everyone assigned to their case is doing everything in their best interest. I would love if someone would put my children's best interest first for once, instead of them having dollar signs above their head. This includes, but not limited to, their case managers, foster parents, biological parents, plural, during supervised visits, and relatives who have them as guardians in state custody. We go to court, write the judicial reviews, make home, daycare, and school visits, and our input on cases is very important because the judges know our only agenda is what's in the best interest of the children. I kid you not. Best interest of the children. Next, I was given a full certification checklist and approval form. So this is basically a checklist of everything I need to meet with my coach before I can be let off on my own. I'm certified, okay? Because you're in training until you get to the point where your coach believes that you are good to go on visits and do things on your own. This form will be utilized by the assigned guardian ad litem peer mentor or the assigned child advocacy manager and documents the completion of all phase 3 training requirements. I was in phase 3. By the provisionally certified volunteer child advocate. The results of this checklist will indicate suitability for volunteer child advocate certification, and any concerns should be discussed by the peer mentor, assigned child advocate manager, etc. So basically, it's like training, on the job training. And at the end, you've got to have your training manager. Yep, she knows what she's doing, etc. Anyways, pretty standard. This next part, when I was given this in the conference room at the guardian ad litem office, it took every ounce of me to not burst into tears in front of my coach and my manager. You two know who you are. Once I post the link to these documents, the whole world will know who they are. But these two people were nothing but kind to me. I have nothing but positive, kind words for these two people, my mentor and my manager I was reporting to. So when this was handed to me in the conference room and I start reading through some of it, something caught my eye immediately that is incredibly personal to my children and I's story. So this is the guardian ad litem report to the court. So this is a sample of something that I would write up. Okay? Recommendation and observations of the guardian ad litem, placement, safety. So I'm here to tell you that I was on a path to, as a volunteer, being able to decide and give recommendations to judges in Florida Circuit 7 on what should happen with these children. Me, with a geology degree, with a background in human resources in corporate America, as someone who hasn't even been able to see or speak to my own children for 5 years now, could have had the ability to make very serious recommendations and decisions for other people's children in Florida DCF custody as a volunteer. I would have had that type of power. Now apply that to my backstory with the Illinois guardian ad litem, Kathleen McGee. So anyways, on the second page, conditions for return. Now, think of my story with my children, Ariana, Tommy, Bianca, Charlie. When you watch this, remember, this is how it should have played out in Illinois, but this is not how it actually played out in Illinois. Conditions for return. Please remember that parents do not have to complete all of their case plan tasks in order for reunification to occur. Do not. Children can be returned home when it is safe to do so and with the help of safety planning. For this section, we don't want to answer yes or no when we are considering these questions. We want to explain what's happening with the parents and the children, as well as what services are available that would help in safety planning. We also want to recommend what safety planning measures would have to take place in order for the children to be reunified. Ask yourself what would need to change. Safety planning, home environment. Do the parents have physical location that is consistently calm and safe enough for safety planning professionals to be in the home? Permanency recommendation. The current case plan goal is blank and the case plan expires on blank. The GAL program's recommendation is ... This section should also include whether the GAL is in agreement with the goal, if a goal change is being recommended and why. If you are recommending that the case plan goal remain reunification past the 12-month mark, you must include the specific reasons why it is in the best interest of the children to continue the goal past 12 months. The court must include compelling reasons why a particular goal is being pursued, so please provide the factual support necessary for the recommendation for either the goal change or the continuance of the current goal. It was heartbreaking to read that in front of my two mentors, knowing that I am now on 5 years that I have not had any meaningful contact with my children because of what Illinois guardian ad litem Kathleen McGee did August of 2021 by violating my constitutional rights, my civil rights, due process, my human rights, by shipping the kids down here with the actual abusive parent when there was no reason for them to be shipped down here. None. I had a house, I had a lease, I had all of our property, I had a job. There was no reason for them to be shipped down here. My children absolutely could return to me. And this form right here proves that there's no reason for any of this to have occurred other than the Serlick family paying people off and doing irreparable harm to my children for the rest of their lives. 5 years have been stolen from them because of this manipulation and control of our judicial system. Next thing is child visitation report about this form. This is the child visitation form and includes the basic information that should be collected at each visit. However, it is not a comprehensive list. There may be additional information you need to ask or collect during your visits. So this would be the form that I fill out every time I go to a home to visit with the kids, to visit with the guardians. Pretty basic stuff. It would have been wonderful if Kathleen McGee ever did any of this with me, but I've never even met the woman. I have no idea what she looks like. I have no idea what she sounds like. Never met the woman. But this is what she should have been doing. GAL guidelines. Now, this is key to everything that transpired with my children because the person that kidnapped my children from Kitty Cottage Daycare in Fox Lake, Illinois, had none of this. None of it. GAL guidelines. Make sure you always carry your GAL ID, business cards, and GAL paperwork that the court assigns the GAL program to your case. That's your ticket to see the child and or children at school, daycare, and after school care or anywhere, and to also obtain records that you deem are necessary to your case. Make sure you read the original shelter report on the case. That's the report all child protective investigators do, explaining to the judge and court why under the law were all the reasons the child or children were taken into custody. It can be graphic, but it's always to the point and will give you a good outlook into the children's lives, issues, and other areas of concern. There's more to this. I'm not going to read it all, but it'll be scanned for you guys to read. And then finally, order appointing statewide guardian ad litem office. So this is just a sample of what it looks like when a judge appoints a guardian ad litem to a dependency case. Now, dependency case is Florida DCF. So Florida DCF gets involved. Judges get involved in Circuit 7. Judge orders a guardian ad litem to the dependency case. So in my situation in Illinois, that would have been Kathleen McGee. The guardian ad litem's job is to literally talk to everyone in the family, everyone that plays a vital part in the children's lives, everyone, not just one side of the family, like the Serlick family. No one ever spoke to me. In fact, Elizabeth Tevis of Camelot Care only made 2 house visits in 1 year to me. And neither of those house visits included an inspection for my children to actually be returned home to me. And even Judge Morosin asked her, why hasn't mom had a house inspection yet? If she's got a lease on a house, we're not at that point, Your Honor. That's what Elizabeth Tevis kept saying. We're not at that point. Yeah, because she was too busy being paid under the table by the Serlick family to keep my children from me and child traffic them in Illinois until they were finally dumped down here. So that is how a guardian ad litem gets assigned to a Florida DCF dependency case here in Florida Circuit 7. The judge just signs, make it so. It's that simple. It's that simple. List of questions and observations during a parental supervised or unsupervised visit. Does there appear to be a legitimate intimacy between a parent and or infant? Will they change the baby's diaper? Is the parent on time to their visits? Always check with the CPC driver who supervises the visits. They have a load of information they can give you. Determine how the parent's overall appearance looks. Do they appear under the influence of any drugs or alcohol? Well, one conversation with Justin, you can always tell he's high as a kite because he's a wake and baker. Are they dressed appropriately? No, he dresses like a slob. After the visit, talk to the parents. Ask how they are doing, especially how they are doing completing their case plan. This is very important. Once a mother told me after a visit how she left a group home and was now living with a man she knew little about. Big red flag. Ask the parents about their living conditions, if they are working and where. Right? Self-explanatory. Talk to the parents. Talk to both of the parents. Talk to everyone involved with the children. That would make sense, right? None of that happened in my situation in Illinois. And it is continuing to happen in Florida Circuit 7, where I can't get anybody to actually put my children's safety and welfare first. Nobody, absolutely nobody, is putting my children's best interests first in my situation. Not a soul, I can say, that is in a position of power in my children's situation is putting my children first. In fact, they are doing the complete opposite. They're putting them in danger. Constant danger. Justin Serlick is a dangerous person. He has thrown me downstairs. He has slammed doors into me. He has physically kicked my son in the ribs, picked him up and thrown him through walls. He was raping me for years while I was under the influence of Ambien and Xanax. He is a dangerous person that should not have 100% access of my children while he's blocking contact. No one is putting my children's best interest first. No one. And that's where the second part of this comes into play. So I was given all of this like a week or two ago. Not too long ago. I had it was last week. I had this conference with my mentor that was going to train me, my coach, and then my actual manager that I was helping with her caseload. So April 8th, I'm going to read to you some emails that took place. So this is just last week. This is from Jennifer Sandoval, and her name is going to come into play in a minute here. That's wonderful. I'm excited for all of you. Sounds like you are off to a great start. Heather, you can access Optima through the link portal or link below. Your account is associated with your email address. I have listed your username and password below. Let me know if you have any difficulty. Smiley face. Okay. So this is giving me access to Optima that holds the cases for Florida DCF. Okay. So I logged in, changed my password, verified everything worked, verified I could see the case that I was assigned to. And that was it. So then I emailed back verifying that I was able to get in. And then this was sent by Dixie at the Guardian Ad Litem office. Good afternoon, Ms. Bendl. I'm excited that you have received your login credentials and can start using the Optima system. I'm sure you will find it very user-friendly. We have recently implemented a new system in which badges will be issued once a volunteer applicant reaches full certification. Since you are training, you will work under his credentials as you work toward full certification. Once you are certified as a Guardian Ad Litem volunteer, we will issue your badge right away. Congratulations on reaching this stage, and I look forward to making your badge soon. Have a nice evening. Dixie, HR/budget liaison, Florida Guardian Ad Litem office, 7th Circuit. Okay? So that's verifying that. And then that was the 8th. No, that was the 18th. Yeah, so that was the 8th. So that was the end of the email chain. And then I had a group text chat going with my coach that was going to train me, that I was going to work under, and then the manager that I was assigned to help her with her caseload. Then we fast forward to yesterday. Yesterday, I got a voicemail right before I had a doctor's appointment from Rachel Hopkins, asking me to call her back. So I'm like, all right. Sounds like they finally put the 2 and 2 together. I've been super, super loud all over the Facebook groups, all over social media about my nonprofit dedicated to my children, Justice for the Serlick Children, and the illegal activity happening in my family law case, and my extreme discontent with not being able to get therapists and guardian ad litems assigned to my children's family law case here in Circuit 7. Now all of a sudden I've got Rachel Hopkins calling me. So what could this be about? I wonder. So I called her back later yesterday, and the call was recorded. And in that call, it was 10 minutes. In that call, she conferenced in the other person, which is, I just want to get those names, Sandoval, Jennifer Sandoval. Just want to make sure that I have all these names accurate, because I like to make sure that my data is 100%. All right, so Rachel Hopkins, Circuit Director, and Jennifer Sandoval, Assistant Circuit Director. So they're the two head women at the 7th Judicial Circuit Guardian Ad Litem's office, right? So Rachel is the person that called me, left a voicemail. I called her back. She calls me back, says, hey, do you have a moment? Yep, absolutely. Record. I'm going to conference in Jennifer Sandoval. And so they're being very monotone and very no F's given outlook to me. I did not appreciate their lack of empathy. I basically explained why I became a Florida Guardian Ad Litem, to get an internal connection for my children, to get them some help, some much needed help. They need help. They need advocates. They need eyes on them. They need a voice. My children need a voice. I am tired of Mary, Ira, and Justin Serlick silencing me and my children. They need a voice. So I explained to these two women on the phone yesterday that I took this volunteer role to get internal connections to the Florida Guardian Ad Litem office so I could get eyes on my children's situation. I spelled it all out there for them. I was honest with them. Jennifer Sandoval did most of the speaking. Rachel didn't do very much at all, even though it appears that Rachel is in the position above Jennifer. But Jennifer did all the speaking, and she should not be in charge of children's lives, especially vulnerable children that are abused and neglected. Her no F's given tone was so disturbing to me. It is, yet again, the same situation of everyone is just a title and a paycheck. Nobody actually seems to really give an ounce for these children that need adults to advocate for them. This woman made it very clear that she did not care about my children and what I was trying to voice to her. And she made it very clear that I was bothering her. So that phone call is recorded and it is on my YouTube. I just have to switch it to public. I will be making that link in this YouTube link so you can click and listen to not the voicemail, but the phone call. It is just over 10 minutes. Listen to the absolute disregard from a woman to another woman that went to extraordinary lengths to get contacts within the Florida Guardian Ad Litem office. And you tell me if Jennifer Sandoval seems to actually care about children's best interests, which is that wording is throughout the entirety of the Florida Guardian Ad Litem trainings, forms, emails. The best interest of the children is throughout the entirety of all of this. But I would really like to know if Jennifer Sandoval and Rachel Hopkins are putting the best interest of children first, because if they are, they should have done what their job is as a mandate reporter and already filed a complaint and a report in with Florida DCF, which they work side by side with. So that was my power move that I have been working on since January. I was quite literally onboarded as a Florida Guardian Ad Litem volunteer with no social work education, with no counseling education, no psychology education or background. Me, a scientist, just wanting to get an internal perspective of what all is entailed in becoming a Guardian Ad Litem, because a Guardian Ad Litem is who made the life-altering decision to send 3 of my 4 children down here August of 2021 without even so much as introducing herself to me. And I now know that Guardian Ad Litems are required to speak to all parties involved with a situation in a dependency case. I now know that the overall general consensus of Guardian Ad Litem and dependency is reunification and to return home to their legal custodial parent, not the non-legal custodial parent that abused them. I now know that it can very easily be swayed. Get connected to the right people, get money offered the right way, and my court documents could be swayed by someone. Now, I'm not saying that I would ever be swayed, but I'm not most people. Am I, Kathleen McGee? I'm nothing like you. So now I can say from an internal perspective in the state of Florida, Guardian Ad Litems are supposed to be talking to all entities that are involved with the children's lives, all parental guardians, all counselors, all teachers, to get a full picture of what's happening with the children. Not just a very one-sided picture of what's happening with the children like Kathleen McGee and Elizabeth Tevis and Camelot Care did in my children's situation. So I now have documented evidence and proof that I became a Florida Guardian Ad Litem volunteer, and I now have more certifications to hang on the wall, way more than I should have, and yet I still have absolutely no meaningful contact with my own children whatsoever. I can't talk to them on the phone. I can't see them in person. I can't spend Easter weekend with them. I can't help them with their homework. So now I have proved that I can be a public school teacher responsible for 121 other people's children, teaching 7th grade science in Volusia County schools where my children attend. And I was on the path to become a full-blown Florida guardian ad litem volunteer with Florida DCF dependency cases. Really makes you think about what's really going on with my Florida Circuit 7 case, doesn't it? I want your thoughts and opinions on this, guys. What's really going on here? Because nothing is at all what appears according to the Serlicks. And I'm going to continue proving that they are lying to the entire world. And I'm going to continue collecting a laundry list of positions of power like Rachel Hopkins and Jennifer Sandoval that do not do their job to protect children that need help. And that list continues to grow, and those people will be added to my defendant in my lawsuit. So the more people I have to sue that are failing my children, the more money my children and I will walk away with in the end. So this is all I want to share with you tonight, guys. I got my directions to the clerk filed. I've got start to finish of the guardian ad litem volunteer role. Go ahead and listen to that 10-minute voicemail that explains what happened and how it played out and how I tried to get eyes on my children's situation via doing this. And then my next step is going to be to email everyone in the Florida Guardian Ad Litem office that I now have contacts of because I became a volunteer. So the more people that know about my children's situation and ignore my children's situation when they need help, the more people I have to sue at the end of this. I hope you guys have a great Good Friday evening and a great Easter weekend. I did not perform at Trinity Church tonight for Good Friday because I had a health issue that popped up unexpectedly that I am hoping antibiotics take care of before Sunday, and then I'll be able to be on the stage performing with our Easter choir on Easter Sunday. But that's why I'm here talking to you guys and kind of giving you guys an update on what I've been up to this week. Finally, I want to let you guys know that I have sent some pretty interesting emails this past week. I've sent emails to President Donald Trump. I've sent emails to Pam Bondi. I've sent emails to Kash Patel of FBI. I've sent emails to pretty much a lot of different positions of power in an attempt to get eyes on my very illegal and corrupt situation with my 4 children and the Serlick family. And more importantly, I have officially filed tips with the FBI with all of the judges' names and all of the attorneys' names. The FBI now has names, addresses, phone numbers of all the judges involved in this illegal activity and all the attorneys involved in this illegal activity. So I don't know. I guess we'll find out. But yeah, the FBI now has all of that information. So, Serlicks, I hope you keep looking over your shoulder at night because they now know your address. Everybody knows your address. Have a great night, everyone. But let's see if the FBI actually does their job and investigates this. Because there's quite a few felonies rolled up into this case. Have a good night, everyone.